So what kind of behind the theme? Today we'll be talking about Chaos in Overgame with a focus on Khorne. Now Khorne is the second oldest brother among the 4 Chaos gods, and he is the god of blood, war, martial powers, and the important thing is Khorne seeks slaughter, not pain, which is a big difference, and I'll explain why later. Now my favorite story about Khorne is how he became the strongest among the 4 brothers of Chaos. Now, before actually it was Tzeentch, and this was in the times of the old ones, alright, in the Warhammer fantasy universe. And what happened was that Tzeentch was all powerful, and then what Khorne did was he allied himself with his 2 brothers Slaanesh and Nurgle, and together they worked together and lowered Tzeentch a peg. And then there was this climactic battle between basically Tzeentch and Khorne in a duel, and Khorne beat Tzeentch, thus usurping the position as the strongest among the 4 brothers of Chaos. Now Khorne basically embodies hate, killing, courage, and excellence in arms. And that's the cool thing about the Games Workshop line, is that the Chaos Gods, although they are evil, also has a so-called, not black and white situation, but they're in a grey. Because Khorne, as much as he is embodying hate and war, he also is about the honor of being a warrior. Basically, he has a certain nobility to him. And this is not in Warhammer, but in 40k, represented in the story about the Space Wolf's Rune Priest, Uric the Slayer, whereby he actually killed so many Khorne Berserkers that the leader of the Khorne Berserkers actually saluted him. You know, so it shows that although they are blood-crazed Khorne Berserkers and everything, they still have, because like their god, a certain sense of martial honor. Now, the sacred number of Khorne is 8, and this is also represented in that his demonic followers has 8 syllables to their name. On top of that, his symbol, if you actually look at it, looks like an 8, or rather a stylized skull. Now, Khorne is pretty cool because everybody prays to him. It's almost impossible not to, especially in the Warhammer fantasy universe, because, you know, the strange part of it is that even if you are fighting Khorne, you are giving him strength. The best example of this, I feel, is that they give the example of even when a baby cries out in rage, he's praying basically to Khorne and gives Khorne strength. And Khorne is not biased. He actually even supports, the other side that fights against him. Because what he values is the slaughter and the martial prowess. So if you're a great fighter on the other side fighting a Khorne Berserker, if you are fighting better than Khorne Berserker, he's more than happy to favor you. And on top of that, it's also a cool thing that they say that Khorne is the easiest to worship. Because one, he doesn't need any temples. Alright, his temples, in fact, the sacred ground which people go to pray to Khorne, is on battlefields. And the thing that really attracts people to Khorne is the raw emotion that he embodies. Especially like the Warhammer universe fight and battle for honor and glory and so on and so forth. In fact, the strange part of the Khorne army organization is that what he has is called Bloodfathers. Bloodfathers being like, basically, think of them as Khorne magicians, but they don't cast spells. What they do is like a warrior priest in the Empire. They buff nearby units with like inspiration spells and stuff like that. But it's not spells, it's more like inspirational effects, like auras and such, and so on. This is especially the reason why among the races, the Beastmen and the Norsca of the North, basically think of them as Warhammer Fantasy Vikings, worship Khorne the most, because those 2 races are constantly at war, and they live in harsh environments, and their whole culture is about basically staying alive. The only best way to stay alive is to be on the top of the food chain, battle-wise. The strange thing about being in a Khorne army, on top of that, is this strange thing in that Khorne, as you notice, he's a god of war and all that, but he is also about slaughter, meaning that the strategy of most Khorne armies is basically charge. Now, yes, you would know charging straight into battle is probably a bad idea and probably will get you killed. So Khorne leaders, strangely, to be smart in using strategy, would have to pay it off in another way in terms of the slaughter that they give in the battles. Because if you start using tricks and everything, that goes in the realm of Tzeentch, alright? And so you don't want to push it too far by using tactics which Khorne will feel is non-martial, basically. So you tip a fine line being a Khorne leader, leading an army. And also leading into that, Khorne's greatest rival is actually strangely not Tzeentch, but his brother Slaanesh, because it's so closely tied to battle in this way that, like, remember what I said at the start, Khorne favors slaughter, not pain. Now, pain and any kind of feelings of lust and so on goes in the realm of Slaanesh. So strangely, if you start torturing people on the battlefields instead of killing them, you are actually giving strength to Slaanesh and not Khorne. So for this reason, Khorne sees his younger brother as more of a degenerate, and of course he looks at his brother Tzeentch as just scheming, and basically is how if you're a board gamer, you look at someone who cheats, alright, and you think that's not fair. Now, Khorne has many names. In the Chaos tongue, he's known as Karnaf, and he's also, of course, known as the Lord of Skulls, the Blood God, and the Wolf Father. That being because Khorne favors his favorite animal is the wolf for its blood scent. Now, for the demons of Khorne, like the Bloodletters and Bloodthirsters, which we'll get to later, they come from the Realm of Chaos. Now, the Realm of Chaos for Khorne is actually a blighted land, because Khorne cares nothing for growing. So it's a barren wasteland filled with bones, and around all you hear is the sounds of battle. And in this cracked earth, in the realm of Khorne, you see a huge crevasse splitting the land. Now this, mind you, was caused when Khorne took his blade, Warmaker, and smashed it in anger onto the ground, just splitting the realm. Now the thing about Warmaker, which is a fell sword, is so powerful that it can end worlds with a single blow. And the cool thing about that, at the end of creation, basically, the people who worship Khorne, who go to his realm to fight all the time for the pleasure of Khorne, they basically are there to witness Khorne end existence with Warmaker. So that's pretty cool, and shows that feeling of Khorne, that their whole existence is not about anything else other than slaughter and destruction. Now in the Realm of Chaos, there is the Fortress of Khorne, which is a monument to fury and bloodshed, and is built on a foundation of conflict. Around the fortress you have a moat of boiling blood, and in the middle of the fortress you have the brass citadel, of which, of course, Khorne sits there on his throne of brass on the mountain of skulls, all of which were basically people killed in dedication to Khorne. Now, of course, all this is held atop by 8 great pillars, sacred number of Khorne, and on top of that, there in front of Khorne is a fire pit. This demonic flame basically sucks up the souls of all the cowards who ran from battle. And another really cool fact, alright, now as Khorne sits on his throne, on each of his fingers he has a brass ring, on which are skulls of war gods who came to usurp his position as war god. Alright, now isn't that really cool? It's like the king of kings of war gods, you know, like anyone can come and challenge him and he would defeat them. And these are gods, mind you. Now at his side, he has his favorite flesh hound, Karnak. Now, the cool thing is that they say that in the Empire, some of them actually falsely write that this is a bodyguard to Khorne. But the fact is, Khorne doesn't need a bodyguard, he just favors the presence of Karnak. Now, getting to the units in Chaos in the Old, first of course you have the Bloodletters. Alright? Now, the Bloodletters are made from the essence of Khorne, and they're clad in the fragments of shattered armor, and they carry hellblades. All the while they fight, they are basically chanting the names of people they have killed over the eons. So very thematic to Khorne. And of course, the most famous and favorite of these Bloodletters is Skulltaker. Next we go to, of course, the most powerful demons of Khorne, which is the Bloodthirsters. Now, the Bloodthirsters are also from the essence of Khorne, but they're of course much bigger, and they tend to have bestial features because, you know, Khorne embodies that animal nature of, you know, base instinct, basically. And each of them, most of the time, carry a 2-headed war axe with a whip. And of which they are the only demons of Khorne in the current line that basically have wings. Although if you are a favorite Khorne champion, it is not out of the realm of possibility to get wings. Now, the most powerful of all the Bloodthirsters is basically Angraf, the Unbound. And in 10,000 years of history, Angraf has only been summoned twice, of which any time if Angraf is able to be summoned, it basically means there's going to be a lot of slaughter, or there already has been a lot of slaughter. So it's never a good sign when he appears, especially for the Warhammer Fantasy people. Now, before we get to a very rare fact on a talk of basically Khorne's facets between the elves and the Empire. Let's talk about the whole idea of how Khorne plays and is so thematic in Chaos in the Old World. The thing about Khorne, unlike Nurgle, which is like a bell curve, you can watch my video, I'll put the link below, is that Khorne is he's constantly powerful, right? Representative of his nature as the top god in the Chaos Gods. And basically he's all about battle. You basically in Khorne, you attack whoever you can kill the most of, which is, again, like I said, he's all about slaughter. Doesn't matter who it is. And in like Chaos in Old World, basically whoever you can kill the most of, alright, that's how you gain points. That's how you turn your dials to win. That's the path to victory. So basically Khorne is constantly powerful. Now, a note about Khorne is that in the base game, he is found to be among players very severely unbalanced and weak, because basically if you can't roll well, you can't win the game. Even if you have all the best strategies in the world, if you cannot roll well, you cannot win with Khorne. The thing about it is that the expansion, the Horn Rat, you actually replace the cards of Khorne, and then now people say he's somewhat overpowered, alright? And to me, personally, I feel that the new deck is okay, even though the powers are very powerful if you roll well. The thing is that, because you're off-balancing the fact that you might not roll well. Such as when I played one time, that poor person couldn't roll for the life of her, and so she had no chance of winning. So, giving her that extra, that when she does get a hit, she gets, a lot of advantage, I'm fine with it, because again, it balances something that no one can control, which is luck. So let's get to that interesting point. Now, even for me, the whole point that Khorne is linked somehow to the elves god of Cain, their war god, and also for Uruk on the Empire. So they say that these are actually facets of Khorne, and actually these people are worshipping Khorne. And I can't say for 100%, I in fact used to think that that was the case too, until I read that, it would be weird because Khorne does not need tricks for people to worship him. So in that sense, it probably isn't Khorne. But again, not sure. But again, I'm telling you this so maybe you can tell me one way or the other. So that is the talk about Khorne. Next time we'll go forward with Tzeentch. Let me know if you know anything about Khorne, any interesting points or any stories of Chaos in Old World in your games. Thank you very much. Till next word.